Craig Jacobs. I'm the Vice President of IT for MGM Resorts International. And what that means most days is that I keep things running and put out whatever fires might stop our business from making money in a technology or platform type of way. So I've got about 300 or so people across the United States that are on my team, handle everything from the desk side, something that could be back of house or front of house or guests, all the way to the back end, network, server infrastructure. So going way back, right, computers were kind of the bleeding edge of things in the classroom when I was young. So Apple IIe, Commodore 64, things of that nature were kind of where computers started for me. And then in middle school, got the opportunity to do a camp at Murray State. It was computer science based. I played a lot of Doom during that camp. I think that started the kind of troubleshooting, right? Because you're in video games and a driver doesn't work or something happens, and kind of evolved from there. And then actually worked for John Hart and the ITSM program, maintaining computer labs, continued on with the TSM, as it was called then, telecommunication systems management, did my master's, and really had worked several years in technology for a while. Ended up moving to Reno, worked in the gaming, the entertainment industry, and from there saw my career expand with exponentially with all the different consolidation of assets and complexities that go along with data, really. And then that always has a component of security to it because the hospitality industry is especially hit by people trying to get credit card numbers. So PCI is big in our world. Was actually, had a breach a few years ago, came to talk at Murray about some of those experiences, and really, learned a lot through that. But having a basis in the security background, understanding how things are done, protocols, really helped a lot when we were working with whether it was on the front end when you're doing compliance with like a QSA, or whether you're on the back end of someone's actually done something bad to your organization. You're not playing catch up as much. You understand what's going on. You understand what they're there to do, what they're talking about, and then you can be more a part of that team and learn, because some of those folks, whether it's Mania or those other companies, TrustWave, they're really, really very smart. They're on the bleeding edge of what's occurring and the types of black hats that are out there, and you learn a lot of insight from that. When I think about that, the preparation, so I'll answer it in two pieces. I think preparation was really just a lot of work, purely. Not that that wasn't fun, but I mean, it's just lots of hours getting both technically strong and very detailed pieces that were important for whatever I was working on at the time. And that could be something network related, it could be security related, systems and applications related, and really diving into those things and putting in the hours to become kind of a full stack of understanding. And that becomes very valuable in a large organization, because when you can operate at multiple levels of the stack and talk to experts in their domain at a very detailed level and get their respect, it changes the way those conversations happen. And then as you elevate in role and you have more and more people, you need more and more people to respect you and interface with you in a positive way. Because if people think you have a position, but you don't understand them or understand what they do, you get these gaps, and you have a struggle to operate within the team. And then within the security context, really, again, getting back down to the minutiae or the detail, I think, Mike, you gave me the Applied Cryptography book by Bruce Schneier. And that was really the Bible, right, at the time. And there's still probably a lot to be learned from that, even though, maybe the protocols and the hashes and algorithms have changed or gotten more sophisticated. It was really a deep understanding there in how all of that works. And it's at a level that I think even people who would call themselves, cyber professionals probably don't really understand, right? They understand mechanisms, they understand how to apply a tool, but they may not really deeply understand, how those protocols work or how they were developed. And I think that was one of those learning moments that I thought was really cool at the time, but has served me over 20 years. Where again, getting back to the how you get respect from people, you can go in and start talking at a level of depth that people go, whoa, you double click down to a cell that most people can't operate in. And it's really been very valuable in so many different ways, whether it is in a security incident or even in just something normal you're trying to make work. I would say start working in whatever capacity you can. If it's free, great. It's not a bad place to start. So if that's an internship, if it's for a business or a company, that's probably the best thing you can do. You'll get an understanding of what it really means to do the work, and if you still like it in that context. But I think that's the most important piece, and um, that's not always just I went on Indeed and I applied for something and I got it, they hired me. I think it comes in a variety of different ways that you can do. I think also, I talked about the applied cryptography. There's lots of stuff out there, whether it's ethical hacker certification, security plus, whether it's reading different items. That tends to be important. Again, putting in the work, understanding how all of those mechanisms function. Like you put yourself ahead of the pack if you have that understanding knowledge. And then lastly, I would say, really, becoming a nerd for case studies. Whether it's stuff you read in Wired magazine or books that are published on different things, or hackers who've gotten caught and then published their life stories. I think that stuff's really important because it's what the enemy is using, right? They are building off of that body of work for what they're going to do. But I also think it's really interesting, and it kind of energizes you around around the industry, around what you would be doing, in a white hat model, or even just an adjacent industry where it's something that you're supporting, which is more of what my role is. But definitely very important to get started in all those different areas if this is of interest to you. We're highly regulated in the gaming and entertainment space, right? Each jurisdiction we operate in has a gaming control board with various degrees of requirements. And in my position, especially some of those jurisdictions, it's full audits of tax returns and beyond anything an IRS would do, in terms of background and interviews. Obviously that decreases depending on your level, but integrity is huge in any of the kind of the financial areas or gaming areas. So integrity is something we spend a fair amount of time as a company on, as well as in our area. And it really gets down to are you operating with integrity and intent for the best outcome of both the business, the customer, and the regulator and the regulation. And sometimes those are fine lines because you've got to be careful to meet check mark all of those boxes. But it's especially we're pretty stringent around the integrity side because of what we do. There's not a lot of room for I manipulated this data, no big deal, right? And those are highly audited systems that you have to pay attention to. And so I think if you're looking in any technology area, the integrity is very important for both what you choose to do as well as continuity, right? You got to have integrity of your data, of your systems, in terms of backups and things of that nature, because loss can be significant and can come with fines, penalties, etc., beyond just customer dissatisfaction or loss. Last thing I would say, and I know I got a little long-winded there, is it's important to remember not everyone will understand. And so while you may understand that what you're doing is fine and can be done and is good, the world may not understand all that detail and all that level. So you do need to be careful, especially in the social framework that we operate within today, that something you post or something you do or something you say can be taken well outside of context of rationale. And so just to be really careful with that, especially when you're on the younger side where it seems a little more fluid and things can't really get hurt. Not everyone is going to view it that way. And especially people who may have power or authority in a judicial sense may not see it that way. And so don't put your life or career in jeopardy because something looks or sounds cool and it's fine, right? Be careful with that.